What's up, YouTube? In today's video, I've got to make something right. I've got to right a wrong from this YouTube channel. I have been reacting to football for about 2 years now, and there was a name that I have not yet discovered. In fact, you guys found out in one of my recent videos, Aryan Robin reaction, found out that I did not even know Ricardo Kaka or Kaka. I didn't. In fact, on Twitch, we were doing a Sporkle quiz, and the name popped up, and I was like kind of shocked that he was one of the top players in football history. But in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to a story on him. Daily Dose of Football makes good stories, and so let's get into this and let's see. Kaka was better than CR7 and Messi, but then something happened. That's a bold statement to make about this young player.
In 2001, São Paulo were playing Botafogo in the final of the Rio São Paulo tournament, something they had never won. As they were 15 minutes away from the final whistle, they decided to bring in a young player that had only played 2 other professional matches. 2 minutes later, he had scored twice and led São Paulo to their first ever win in a tournament.
Wow.
As you looked at the score sheet, you'd see an interesting name. Ricardo, Kaka. His talent would be so easily notable that he would only manage to spend 2 full seasons in Brazil before getting snatched by an European giant. During his time there, he would manage to score 47 goals in 91 matches, winning the league's Player of the Year award at just 19 years old.
19,
Before
wow.
moving to Europe, he would also take part in his first international tournament, the race, signing him for just 8.5 million euros. As a new signing, he would come off the bench a lot in his first few months in Italy. Still, he would manage to be involved in 21 goals that year, as AC Milan would win the Scudetto. The next season, he would be moved to a supporting role, playing behind Shevchenko, and his assist numbers would skyrocket. By the end of 2004, he would be named Serie A Player of the Year, despite it being his first year ever in the league. The 2004-2005 season would be shocking in terms of silverware, as despite having one of the strongest teams in the world, AC Milan would end the year with only one trophy, the Italian Super Cup. Despite this, the year would still be very notable in Kaka's career, as he would make it to his first ever Champions League final. By the 44th minute, Kaka would assist the third AC, would easily take the trophy home, but unfortunately that day would be remembered on other terms, as Liverpool would score 3 times in 6 minutes and eventually go on to win the game in penalties. Still, Kaka would win UEFA Midfielder of the Year. In the summer, he would take part in his second international tournament, the Confederations again take the trophy home. The next year would be most notorious for the Calciopoli scandal, which saw AC Milan get deducted 30 points, as they impressively still managed to finish 3rd that year. Then he would take part in his second World Cup, as Brazil presented an incredibly strong offensive team with Ronaldinho, Adriano and Ronaldo Fenomeno partnering up with Kaka. Sadly, their defense was nowhere as capable, and they would lose to France in the quarterfinals. Despite the Calciopoli scandal being a stain in Kaka's career, it would be easily looked past, as the next year would be the best of his career.
Wow.
With the departure of Shevchenko, he would start playing as a second striker behind Filippo Inzaghi. That year, he would score 19 goals, 10 of them in the Champions League, as he managed to be involved in a goal every 87 minutes in the competition. Wow. The first big show of his strength would come as he scored his first ever hat-trick.
Would you guys say that that is what we consider kind of the standard understanding of how good a player is how many goal contributions per 90 minutes that they have? If you've got a goal contribution per 90 minutes, I feel like that kind of sets you apart as like in the, I don't know, is that like an elite level player? To I need to turn my my Twitch follower sound off. Does that set someone off as an elite player if you're having a goal contribution that often? To me, that sounds like, wow, that's a really good player that you know, every time they're playing, every 90 minutes, there's at least a goal coming from that player. That's an amazing contribution. All right, before we get back to the video, I got a word from our sponsor. Hey there, guess what? I've got merch. If you go to the YouTube channel and you click on store, you will see all kinds of neat designs, different things we've got there. There are some designs that you can't even find on YouTube because YouTube won't let us display them, but if you click on the Spread Shop link in the description, you will find that we have a 25% off code for the next 2 weeks. But we've got all kinds of other things, customizable designs, the Luke Sports Academy design that you can get on t-shirts, the beautiful game design, which I love. You guys have seen me wearing this shirt. It's a very comfortable shirt. You can get this on hoodies, on mugs, on water bottles, Darby Darbs. This is a great design that my wife made with me and Corey. This was a podcast that we started. There's all kinds of products that you can get. And so if you are into merch, if you're into my channel, please go check out the merch store. I'm sure you'll find something that you love. Now back to your video. All right, now we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Against Anderlecht in the group stage. His best performance of the season would come in the semi-finals against Manchester United, as he would manage to score 3 times, with 2 of the goals being scored at Old Trafford, despite AC Milan losing that first match 3-2. As I read once in an article, few remember the final score, but everyone remembers Kaka's performance. In the final, they would meet Liverpool once again, and Kaka would assist Inzaghi's second goal of the day as AC Milan won over Liverpool and took home their 7th Champions League trophy. That season, Kaka would become the first ever midfielder to score 10 or more goals in the Champions League, and also become the last player to win the Ballon d'Or before the Ronaldo and Messi era. It would be a whole decade before someone else managed to surpass them. He would keep his momentum and win the Club World Cup and the European Super Cup as they went into the next season, but this would be the last few moments of glory at AC Milan, as the club would go on a heavy descent.
How did I not know about this man? In the era of Messi and Ronaldo, he wins the Ballon d'Or before they start dominating things. And he's up there. How did I not know about this guy?
Not even qualifying to the UCL. During his last 2 seasons at Italy, Kaka's most iconic moments would come during 2009, as he would take part in another Confederations Cup, despite not taking part in the Copa America that awarded Brazil the qualification. Kaka would be elemental to the Brazilian squad and would eventually earn a man of the match performance in the final against the USA. As Brazil won the tournament once again, Kaka would take home the golden ball. As he came back from the tournament, it had been made official. Kaka was gonna finally leave Italy. He would join Real Madrid for a fee of 67 million euros, one of the highest ever transfers. It would soon be outshined, as Real Madrid would also buy Cristiano Ronaldo. With the 2 latest Ballon d'Ors winners at Santiago Bernabeu, the future looked hopeful, but it wouldn't look that way for much longer. After a first season where Kaka looked to adapt to a new league, he would participate in his last ever World Cup, where, despite finishing the tournament as top assist provider, Brazil would be knocked out in the quarterfinals. But then, the worst would happen. Kaka would go through complications in his knee injury and be out. The start to the next season would be his best time in the last few years, even winning the Player of the Week award in the Champions League, as it was essential for Real Madrid as they defeated Ajax 3-0. He would be involved in 24 goals in all competitions as we out in the...
I love that goal. I'm going to have to go back. I'm sorry to interrupt the video presentation. This goal right here, blowing my mind right now, because it looks like he should pass it back to Ronaldo, Ronaldo's running back here, and he runs into this space here. So you think that Kaka should pass to Ronaldo right here to finish off this goal, but instead he takes the shot himself.
Involved in 24 goals in all competitions.
Oh, it's such a fake out. I can't even. Oh my. Okay.
Out in the semi-finals as Kaka became the top assist provider in the tournament that season. The next would be his final season at Real Madrid, as his form would decline and he would no longer be seen as a suitable option for the starting 11. By the start of the 2013-2014 season, Kaka would announce that he was leaving for AC Milan on a free transfer, and it was an unfortunate time to leave Real Madrid, as they were about to win 4 of the next 5 Champions League editions. In his first appearance for his old club, he would captain the team, but later, in his first competitive match, he would tear one of his thigh muscles. The player felt so desperate that he would, in a gesture of grace, decide not to take his salary from the club while he remained injured. He would come back, and regardless of how much, it was time to let go, and so he did. After only 1 season at AC Milan, he would leave for the MLS, where he would sign for Orlando City. In an odd turn of events, he would be loaned out to São Paulo, the club where he had started his career, and would play for them for just 4 months to finish what was left of the season before actually starting to play for Orlando City. His time in Orlando would be great, as he helped the new franchise to success, as they would even manage to beat the defending champions by 4 goals. His performances would be enough to get him a place in the All-Star game, where he would even captain the team. After all, there aren't many Ballon d'Or winners playing in the MLS. In the All-Star match, he would score and win the MVP award as the team defeated Tottenham Hotspurs. Despite all this, he would not be able to get Orlando to earn a place in the playoffs. The next season, he would once again be out due to injury. Once he came back, he nearly managed 1 goal contribution per in the playoffs. The next season, he would once again the MVP award as the team defeated Tottenham Hotspurs. Despite all in the All-Star match, he would score and win the MVP award as the team defeated Tottenham Hotspurs.
Okay, I'm just gonna ignore that he said that wrong. Tottenham Hotspurs. I've never heard that before. The MLS All-Star team defeated Tottenham. It's not a good showing for us, boys. Not a good showing.
Despite all this, he would not be able to get Orlando to earn a place in the playoffs. The next season, he would once again be out due to injury. Once he came back, he nearly managed 1 goal contribution per 100 minutes played, but would still not be enough to get the team to the playoffs. In his final seasons, it would only take a few minutes of playing time before he fell onto the ground in pain. He would be out for weeks once again. This time, he would come back looking significantly weaker, and as the team failed to qualify once again, he would announce that this would be his last ever professional season. Kaka was quick, elegant, precise, and a hard-working midfielder. In his first years,
dude, he seems so humble and so down to earth and such a talent. It's so sad that his career trajectory went from CR7 and Messi to like constant dealing with injuries, and that's such an unpredictable. Kind of reminds me, if anybody watches my channel also watches basketball, this story honestly reminds me of Derrick Rose. A player who had that like all-time great, like Hall of Fame trajectory, but injuries just screwed him over. And he ended up being like a good player for the rest of his career, but kind of went into obscurity after a little while.
Seemed like he had it in him to be one of the greatest of all time, but injuries stopped what could have lasted for much longer. Some might even argue that the injuries weren't enough to stop him from achieving such heights, and that the time we had to witness his peak was enough to realize that he deserved a place amongst the greats. Regardless, he'll forever be remembered as the man who climbed the podium, as
crazy.
Ronaldo and Messi sat below him. Kaka was memorizing, and that is timeless. Getting into our ranking system now, starting with finishing, we're talking about someone who scored many goals, but these did not come necessarily from his exceptional finishing, but from how easily he could get himself in dangerous positions.
So fast!
He gets an 8 out of 10. Kaka's influence on the pitch was as notorious as it can be. He gets a 10 out of 10 when it comes to playmaking. His dribbling always reminded me of Zidane. He was so smooth, so elegant, a pleasure to watch, and he gets another 10 out of 10. In terms of his speed and physicality, he gets a 9 out of 10. He was tall and fast at the same time, but he was not necessarily one of the toughest players, so that prevents him from getting a higher score. And finally, his mentality. I don't think he was ever very exceptional in this aspect, as he never seemed like someone desperate to win, but he was never problematic either, so he gets a 7 out of 10. When it comes to his legacy, we take into account his consistency, and although he wasn't the most consistent player across the multiple clubs he played for, that was probably due to injury, so he'll get a 7 out of 10. Now, flair. They don't get much more aesthetically pleasing than Kaka. He was art on the pitch. He gets a 10 out of 10. His trophy cabinet is odd to say the least. Only 13 titles, but in them we have a World Cup and a Champions League, but he barely contributed to the World Cup, and with only 2 league titles in his career, he can only get a 7 out of 10. When it comes to longevity, it's honestly just sad. His peak lasted literally about 4 seasons, maybe 7 if you want to count the first years in Europe and some of his time at Real, but that can only get him a 4 out of 10. Finally, the icon factor. I think he was honestly one of those players that the kids just sort of forgot and don't really even remember, but That might be because of how short his prime was, and the people who did see him surely didn't forget him, so he gets a 7 out of 10. That adds up to 79 out of 100, putting him right below Ronaldinho, which shows just how good he could have been had he not been severely injured so soon. It only takes a look at his technical score to realize how good he was. This was Ricardo Kaka's career in a video. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.
All right. Well, I gotta say, I should have reacted to him sooner. That's my bad. Man, so much. He might be one of my new favorite players. Wow. Just the watching him play, and just the highlights that were showed in this video. I recognize he would have been like my favorite player of that era. Watching him play during that time, and he seems down to earth, like a very humble guy, hardworking. Yeah, totally should have reacted to him earlier than I did. My bad on that one, guys. If you like what you saw in this video, please hit like on the video. It helps me out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.